puny little ply. I'll take one measly ply. Look, I don't have a square and I don't have a ply. No, don't pull. I beg
you. The Weather Channel. No place on Earth has better weather.
Time for the tropical update, and after a brief resurgence of the Atlantic tropical season with Hurricane Erica, things have quieted back down again. So far we have had 5 named storms, not altogether the most active of Atlantic hurricane seasons. That's certainly some good news. Quiet weather means no big storms out there causing anybody any problems. And it doesn't look like we're going to have any storms over the next couple of days. Our areas that are favored for development this time of the year, here into late September, not really showing much signs of activity. Big trough carved out across the Gulf of Mexico. Some unsettled weather on the leading edge of the trough here from the Yucatan Peninsula over into western Cuba, but not much in the way of organization. In fact, pretty much none. We'll take a look at that. There's a ridge of high pressure here to the north of Hispaniola, and we do have some convection underneath that, but that is heading out into the open Atlantic, as I'll show you in a moment. Our other area that we're always keeping an eye on is the tropical Atlantic, the waves, the tropical waves that are coming across from Africa into the Lesser Antilles and then into the Caribbean. We do have a couple of those working their way westward. However, they are fighting against westerly winds at upper levels, winds blowing from west to east that are shearing them apart, preventing them from developing a good closed circulation that would help them develop into a tropical depression. So all the signs say things are going to continue to be quiet in the Atlantic over the next couple of days. Here's that first area of disturbed weather I mentioned here. Here's the Yucatan Peninsula, Cuba, coming over into Belize and Honduras. This area has some very warm sea surface temperatures, no doubt, but with this trough right here, the area is just not very favorable for the development of a strong closed circulation at the surface. So although it is a little stormy here, nothing is expected right now to develop out of it. Now remember I said we had a ridge here north of Hispaniola? Well, there's that convection I was mentioning, but as you can see, it's saying let's head out into the open Atlantic. It's not coming anywhere near the U.S. coast, so that is not going to present itself as a problem, nor to the islands certainly. Now further out into the tropical Atlantic, we do have this tropical wave that is working its way westward. Here's the Lesser Antilles. There is some convection, as you can see, but it's very spotty. There's no broad circulation, there's no banding associated with this, and you can see those clouds streaming off to the northeast as they get blown away by the westerly winds across this system, so not expected to develop here over the next couple of days. This wave, kind of far to the south here, around 7 degrees north latitude, fairly far south for a tropical system to form, and as it progresses westward, it's going to run into those same winds that our first wave I was pointing out is running into now. So again, not expected right now to develop into anything that could cause anybody any problems. Now that is not the case in the eastern Pacific. We just said farewell to Linda when along comes Nora. Still a tropical storm, but top winds right underneath the level to be declared a hurricane, 70 miles an hour, and likely to become a hurricane over the next 12 hours. That's the thinking of the National Hurricane Center. Right now centered about 335 miles south-southeast of Manzanillo and only moving northwest at about 2 miles an hour. Hurricane watch is in effect from Cabo Corrientes to Lázaro Cárdenas. And as you can see here, the storm just barely drifting along the coast. Current forecast track taking it in this general direction over the next 72 hours, putting it to the southwest of Cabo San Lucas in about 3 days and strengthening it into a hurricane. So we'll definitely be keeping a very close watch on Nora, as it is in a favorable area for development, very warm sea surface temperatures, and there is an upper level ridge over it that is enhancing its outflow, its ability to get rid of the air that is moving upward. This is all that's left of Linda, just a small swirl of clouds, some moisture streaming up into California. And as we move to the western Pacific, this is Typhoon David that is forecast to curve back out and maybe just glance a blow at Honshu, but then head out into the North Pacific and quickly die out into pretty much just nothing. Let's check out what's coming up at the top of the hour now. Here's Jeff.
All right, well, we're tracking some